guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. We are going to be doing another full face of makeup dupes video here today. So I posted my first makeup dupes video a few months ago and a lot of you asked for a part 2. So ever since then, I've been on the hunt to find new affordable versions of some of the most raved about best-selling makeup products of all time. And a lot of the higher end products are my personal favorites as well, so I thought that this would be a fun one. So I did the same thing that I did in that first video where I apply all of the expensive products on the left side of my face. I apply all the drugstore dupes on the right side so that we can really see both with application and final finish how similar all of these products truly are. I know I'm a little bit biased because I obviously picked out all of these dupes myself, but I really can't tell a difference between the left and right side of my face, so I'm super excited about this one. Also, sorry if you guys were hoping for a different type of look. This is the exact same look as the last video, but this is the only makeup look that I've been wearing for, I mean, feels like over 6 months at this point. So thought we would just stick to what I know and really focus on the products versus trying out different techniques as far as a look goes. So if you love a good makeup dupe, if you're on the hunt for some new affordable makeup, you've come to the right spot. We're gonna jump into all of that in a second. Before we do, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell and drop a comment below sharing a makeup dupe that you know of, that you really love. Thank you so much for doing all of those things. It really helps to support me with the YouTube algorithm, so I appreciate you so much. And if you need anything from me at all, it is always listed in my description box below, including Lightroom preset filters for editing your Instagram photos, my SPF merch, timestamps, discount codes, links to all of the products that I'll be talking about, and links to my all-time favorite skincare and hair care products, and makeup products, of course. All right, let's jump into it. All right, starting off with complexion, I really wanted to find a dupe for the Urban Decay Stay Naked Hydromaniac Tinted Glow Hydrator. I am obsessed with this product, and I've raved about it so many times on my channel at this point, so I was hoping to find something for you guys that was a more affordable version. This is just so beautiful. It's lightweight, yet still slightly creamy. It feels very hydrating on the skin. It blends and applies beautifully, very seamlessly, and it has really nice, easy to work with, buildable coverage. So I would say it starts off as medium. You could even sheer it out to be less if you wanted to, but you can also build it up to be fuller coverage. And the finish is just very healthy and glowy, really radiant on the skin. It just makes your skin look juicy, which is why I absolutely love it. The dupe for this is funny because it's not like I tested out all these different products and then found one that was the closest match. This was also something that I already had in my collection that I have been obsessed with, that I have talked about tons on my channel. It's the L'Oreal Age Perfect Radiant Serum Foundation with Sunscreen. I feel like I wasn't thinking about this as a potential dupe because they're just titled different things. This is technically supposed to be a tinted moisturizer. This is supposed to be a serum foundation, but these could not be more similar. I honestly feel like they have the exact same formula. Lightweight yet slightly creamy. They feel hydrating, has the same great blend and same level of coverage where it starts off medium. You could build it up, you could sheer it out, and I think the finish is identical as well. Very healthy, very glowy. What the heck? Obviously the shades aren't identical, even though I do actually think once the rest of my makeup is on, they pretty much look indistinguishable from one another, but here, just with no other makeup, you can tell they're not exactly the same. It's just really difficult to find shade matches at the drugstore for complexion products like tinted moisturizer, foundation, concealer. So I didn't make that my focus, tried to do as best a shade match as I could, but really focus on formula and finish. And as far as both of those things and coverage, this could not be more spot on to this. So if you've been interested in this product but just don't want to spend the money, here you go. It's right here. All right, for concealer, I was really hoping to find a dupe for my latest favorite. It's the Lancome Tanti Doll Ultra Wear All Over Concealer. This is beautiful because it gives you full coverage, but in such a lightweight way. This is the type of concealer that once it's blended in, you can't feel it anymore. It feels like you're wearing nothing. It has a really nice natural finish, so it doesn't look dry, but it's not overly shiny. It lasts all day for me. It doesn't settle into lines. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I did go into this knowing I wasn't going to be able to find something exactly this good. It's just really hard for me to find drugstore concealers that perform as well as something like this. But I found something that gives very similar results, which is the NYX Can't Stop, Won't Stop Concealers. So right off the bat, I would say that this is definitely a little bit creamier than Lancome, but if I apply it with a damp beauty sponge, which picks up some of that excess product, it feels just as lightweight and gives such a similar finish where it looks looks natural, not dry, not wet, and it gives nice full coverage, but in that lightweight way. So the only issue that I have with this is that it does crease on me a little more quickly and easily than Lancome, which is to be expected at that price point. But if you use a nice setting powder, especially if you apply that setting powder with a damp beauty sponge, I find that that helps a lot. So it's the closest I have been able to find at the drugstore. I do really like this. I think it's a great option, and of course, a fraction of the price compared to Lancome. All right, we're gonna jump over to bronzer next because we are going to be using cream bronzer today. So the expensive product that I have is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Cream Bronzer. All-time favorite higher end cream bronzer. It is absolutely beautiful. This formula is just perfect to me for a cream bronzer because it is so easy to blend. It has enough slip and creaminess to it for blending purposes. It doesn't streak, it doesn't smudge. I can actually put this on top of powder and get the same amazing blend that I do underneath powder. I don't understand it. It's like magic. Amazing. It's really easy to build up, so the level of color and pigment that you get is definitely very versatile, easy to work with. But this is also perfect to me because the finish is just, it's everything. It's very nice and natural, but it doesn't look dry. It just has this healthy sheen to it without looking greasy or shiny, because I just don't like the bronzed areas of my cheeks, or the areas that I apply bronzer, to look really, really shiny. You know, I'm down for that in a blush, that extra juicy look, but I feel like for bronzer, I like it to be a little bit more natural looking, and I feel like so many cream bronzers just look way too shiny on my skin. So in short, this is perfect, but I have to say that the dupe that I have for it, I love almost. I mean, they're so similar. I love it so much. So it is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer. And again, these are definitely not identical color matches, but I feel that once everything has absorbed into the skin, they actually do look pretty similar. This one's just definitely a little bit more cool toned than the Anastasia one. But everything that I had to say about the Anastasia cream bronzer, as far as it being really easy to work with, being able to blend easily on top of powder, not streaking, having a really nice natural finish, all of those things hold true for this e.l.f. Putty Bronzer as well. It is so impressive to me. So I cannot tell that much of a difference between these two, of course, except for the color. I don't actually know if there's a better color match in this e.l.f. Putty range, but since I already had this, I thought I might as well just use it and not go buy another one. So if I find a shade that I think is a better match to this one that I have from ABH, then I will list that below, but I just cannot get over how impressed I am by this. So again, if this ABH bronzer was something that you were really interested by, but it's just too spendy for you, you're going to love this. I promise it will not disappoint. All right, next up is setting powder. This is a powder that has started to gain a lot of traction recently because it's been very hyped up on TikTok. It's the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Pores press setting powder, and the reason why this is getting so much attention is because it completely deletes the look of pores. It's very impressive. So if you have really oily skin, really large looking pores, this is going to be your best friend. It really helps to minimize the appearance of those things. For me personally, as someone with combo skin that leans oily, I do have to be careful about how much of this I use, because if I go overboard, my skin looks a little bit too flat and undimensional. So I just go in with a light hand. Little bit goes a long way, and then for me this works really well at helping to keep my oils and my T-zone at bay, but then just helping to hold my makeup in place all day long. So really nice powder. If you're super dry, it won't be for you, but I feel like you wouldn't even have to set either of those complexion products if you are super dry, because they'll give you a beautiful glow as is by themselves. The dupe that I found is from NYX, and it's the Can't Stop Won't Stop mattifying powder. This is so similar to the IT Cosmetics powder. It gives the same exact kind of result on the skin, where it helps to minimize the appearance of oils and pores, sets makeup great, helps it last all day long, and this is something that even feels pretty much the exact same as the IT Cosmetics powder. So I would say these powders are definitely not super soft and buttery. They are on the drier side, but they don't feel dry and like they're clinging when you apply them, especially because they're press setting powders. I just find that you have to use a lot more of a pressed powder to have it feel dry on the skin than something like a loose powder. So I really wasn't expecting these to be as similar as they are, but what can I say? I am impressed. Okay, for blush, we're going to be using my holy grail, which is the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Seduce. This is absolutely beautiful. It just gives such a healthy, fresh looking flush to the cheeks. This shade is to die for. It is the most perfect everyday rosy brownie pinky nude. I love it so much. That was like 12 shades in one, but you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. So the formula is great as well. It's very buildable, easy to work with. It lasts a long time. I cannot get enough of Tarte blushes. So for me, this was kind of the same thing as that Lancome concealer, where I knew I wasn't going to be able to find an exact dupe, but I wanted to find something similar. I actually really struggle with drugstore blushes in general. I feel like so many of them are really, really shiny, metallic-y, shimmery, like a blush highlighter duo. So many brands, I feel, don't just have good, solid matte blushes. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below what drugstore brands have matte blushes that you really love, because I have a hard time with it, but I found something that I feel gives a similar vibe on the cheek, and it's the Milani Romantic Rose Powder Blush. Oh wait, Rose Powder Blush in the shade Romantic Rose. I do think that the Tarte packaging makes the powder look darker than it really is, so keep that in mind. Even still, are they exactly the same? Definitely not. The Milani blush is a little bit more brown, warm in undertone than this one, but I think that they give a really similar result on the cheek with that just everyday kind of rosy pinky look. I think it's super pretty. Also not exactly the same as far as formula. This one definitely is much more powdery. When I put my brush in it, it actually kicks back quite a bit, and the Tarte blush doesn't do that at all. But again, I think it blends just as nice and builds really well on the cheeks, and it lasts a really long time too. So all of those things I think are really similar, and again, I think the final result is pretty dang comparable. For highlight though, this is one of those situations where I feel like we have pretty much an exact dupe. So for the more expensive highlighter, I have the Ofra Cosmetics highlighter in Rodeo Drive. Oh my god, I have been in love with this for the longest time. It's like a perfect mix between a champagne and a gold. It is so, so pretty. It's definitely a better fit for my skin tone when I have self-tanner on than when I'm really fair, like I am right now, but I still make it work because I think it is so nice and it has such a beautiful soft formula. Really looks just juicy on the cheeks. It's not too powdery. It's something that you can tone down to if it's too intense for you. If you just take your finger to kind of rub it in a little bit, then it melts down and just gives you such a beautiful glow to the cheek. Oh my goodness. The dupe that I have is from Wet n Wild, and it's their Mega Glow highlighting powder in the shade Precious Petals. Same exact type of thing where you're getting the champagne and gold mixed all together beautifully. It feels super similar where it's really nice and soft, and I think the finish and the level of beam that you get is identical. It can be very, very intense if you want it to be, or you can tone it down for a more subtle look, but what the heck, this is seriously the same thing as this highlight. So I know that Ofra does have pretty pricey highlighters. I actually scored and picked up the mini forever ago at Morphe, and it's lasted me forever, so this is more affordable, but fraction of the cost for the same thing. So in my last dupes video, I saw a few comments from you guys saying you were hoping to find a dupe for the brown winged liner that I always wear, and I didn't have one in that video, so I wanted to find something today for you guys. I have been using the Tarte Juicy eyeshadow palette to create this brown eyeshadow winged liner for a long time. There's tons of matte browns in this that I'll use individually or mixed together to create different shades of brown. I love it. I just think there's something so beautiful about using brown eyeshadow for winged liner. It's more subtle than liquid, definitely more subtle than black, but it still has that flirtiness. I can't get enough. So obviously I knew I wasn't going to be able to dupe this entire palette. Eyeshadow is also another really tricky category to dupe. The quality just doesn't seem to be there in the same way. But what I wanted to find is some matte brown shadows that performed really well for you guys. So I found that in this e.l.f. eyeshadow palette. It's the bite-sized eyeshadow in Pumpkin Pie. So there's two matte browns in this that look beautiful as eyeliner. One right here is darker and more cool toned, and there's actually pretty much an exact color match in the Tarte palette to this. This one here is lighter and more warm toned. There's not an exact match from the Tarte palette. There is one that's really close, but this one's a little bit warmer. So I think separately these are beautiful. You could mix them together. They work super well. You're not gonna get tons of fallout, and they last long too. So for a fraction of the cost, I think that this is great. And last but not least, we have lip gloss. So I really wanted to find a dupe for a cult classic fan favorite, the Buxom White Russian Gloss. This is in their lip cream formula. So they have a cream, and then I think they call it a polish. The cream is more opaque and pigmented, and the polish version doesn't have as much pigment, but it has like glitter shimmers throughout it. So they actually have White Russian in both, but I wanted to find a dupe for this one. Such a gorgeous light milky pink shade. I love it. It works perfectly by itself or on top of really any lipstick. What I found as a dupe is not the exact same shade, but so similar. It's from Milani, and it's called their Keep It Full Nourishing Lip Plumper in the shade Soft Rose. So the Milani gloss is definitely deeper and more purple or cool in undertone than Buxom. The Buxom gloss is more of a true light frosty pink, but I think they give a really similar effect on the lips. Really pretty, really fresh, really everyday, and the formula is super similar. So they both have that creamy opacity to them. They both smell minty and feel tingly on the lips. All of the same plumping sensation that you get with Buxom is also in Milani. I actually think that this Milani formula is a little bit less sticky than Buxom, so I really like that about it. I think it's absolutely beautiful, and again, another shade that is great by itself or on top of lipstick. So I know they're not exactly the same, but I feel like these are so similar. If you're trying to find an affordable version of Buxom, this is as close as I've been able to find. All right, you guys, that's it for today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and had fun hanging out with me today. Let me know in the comments below if you are going to pick up any of these dupes. Which dupes are you most excited about? As always, if you are interested in purchasing any of these items, they will be listed and linked in order of mention in my description box below. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, click on that notification bell and send my channel to a friend. Thank you so much for doing all of those things. It really helps me out, so I appreciate you so much. Stay tuned for my next video. That will be up in a few days, but until then, I hope you have a great few days.